A little bit about Blend and what we do. We are a web development strategy firm based out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We're coming up on our 21st year now. And really what we like to do is guide teams through complex web and content problems. And we're talking about AI today, and certainly the world of the web and online marketing has become more complex. And so that's been a big focus for us over the past couple of years here. And some of the things that we work with folks on are things like AI search readiness. So how do we make sure that your site is compatible and works with search engines and LLMs and this new concept of generative engine optimization above and beyond SEO, and we'll talk about that a little bit today. We also work with AI strategy and trying to help you understand how your organization should approach AI and what it can be doing for you, as well as how can we use it in governance. How can we make sure that our sites are ready and that our sites are compliant and accessible and all those things? And these are all places that AI can help. And so, what Blend has done to enable this is that we have really kind of worked to try to understand how we approach AI. And our approach is that AI is not about how do I replace what a person is doing, because I think early on people said, oh, we're going to use this to create all of our content and write all our articles. And what we found is people don't want to read that stuff. But it's rather about how do we enhance what you're doing. So usually, again, when people start to think about AI, they start to think about how do we take something that a person is doing and automate it with AI. And you can certainly taste that approach. But what we found is actually even more valuable is what are the jobs that are not getting done now? So we all work for organizations that are on tight budgets and have small teams, and there's every organization from the biggest to the smallest is a team smaller than they think they need for all of their jobs. So how do we rather than saying like what are the things that AI could replace a person on, it's what are the things that aren't getting done that we know we should do all the time, that it makes maybe our jobs harder because it's drudge work that we have to do every day. How do we automate those so that now I'm not spending my valuable time on things that I could have anybody do. I want to focus on the things that are unique to my organization and really focus on delivering higher value than just kind of doing the paperwork. And so those are the things that we're going to focus on today. And really what we've done as an organization is come up with what we call an AI playbook. And all that really is as we've talked with our clients, with our customers, with their teams, we have worked on ideas on how can we incorporate AI in a way that's helpful for you and frees up some of your time. And so we're going to look at some examples of those today. And we're doing that within the context of the Umbraco content management system. So Umbraco, if you don't know it, is a .NET open source content management system. It is one of the fastest growing systems. There are nearly 750,000 websites worldwide use it. And they offer essentially an enterprise scale CMS for open source with an open source philosophy. So you can go and start using it, download it for free and start working with it. But one of the reasons that Umbraco is so great for AI is that they have enabled an MCP server, and I'll explain what that is in just a minute. So Blend has been working with Umbraco for more than 10 years now. We're an Umbraco Platinum partner, implemented lots of sites, and have an Umbraco certified master on our staff, which is sort of the highest level of training that somebody can receive, their highest level of certification from Umbraco. So very familiar with it. And last year, they rolled out the Umbraco MCP server. And what this is really an AI interface. So what is an MCP? Maybe you've heard the term before, maybe you haven't. Really, the best way I can describe it is you think about USB-C. So, back, I'm a little older, so I had an older computer, and back in the day, the back of the computer had, every different port of every different size, and, parallel ports for your printer and a different port for your monitor. And now, your laptop probably has one USB-C port or several of them, but that's the main port. And really, that's because that's a universal interface, and it lets you connect anything through this one cable. Really, MCP is designed to be USB for AI systems. So it allows an AI system to work with all sorts of different tools. And sure, we're all familiar with chatbots, with using ChatGPT or Claude or one of these systems to have a conversation with the AI, and it can kind of browse the web and do a few things for us. But then when I start asking it, well, hey, can you print my files? Well, it can't, because it can't see the printer. Or, hey, can you, log into my my Google account and write an email for me? Well, it probably can't see my email account. And so that's where MCP comes in, is it connects these systems to the tools that we have. And then when we start talking about the tools our organization uses, whether it's our AMS or the CMS that runs our website, if those have MCP interfaces, now I can hook that AI to that. And so that's what we're going to look at today, is kind of the various ways we're able to integrate AI into the tool chain for our website. And so I want to start off by just kind of showing a simple example, and that is with image enhancement. So we all know that when we put an image on the website, if we want it to be accessible, we need to make sure it has alt text, and we need to make sure that there's a descriptive text that goes with the image. But the problem is, like, usually when I'm putting images on the site, like maybe I've done some job and I want to, I've gone to an event or something, I want to upload 50 images. Well, then I have to write 50 alt text for that. And so we've got a little demonstration Umbraco site set up here. Just before I kind of show the demo, just to kind of give you an idea, this is our demo website for the American Cat and Dog Association, which is an association we've made up to kind of show off these sorts of things. And it kind of also lets us show off pictures of our dogs and cats. And this is a pretty basic little website, and has a little news section in here. So, we've got articles for our members that are all cats and dogs. So there are articles that cats and dogs might like. And when I go to the Umbraco back office, the admin interface, I can see, I can very easily, go and change my pages, make any edits I want to make. And I can also go to my news articles here and take a look at them. And we'll look at this more in detail a little later. But I also have a media folder back here, and this is what we're going to look at now. I have this folder of media here. I've got my dogs, but right now I've got several images I'd like to upload, and the problem with requiring AI or requiring alt text on all these is that I would then have to go enter that. So I have 50 images now. I have to enter all of those 50. But with AI now, what I can do is provide backup alt text. So when we bulk upload these images into Umbraco, I see that they upload, and they'll appear here shortly. And now when I go in and click on one of these images, I can see that there's already alt text on it. Well, how did that happen? Well, the reason that works is that we have tied an AI system into the back end using an Umbraco extension, that when it gets a new image upload, it provides that alt text for us. And we can actually control that pretty smoothly to, you're not seeing the things that I'm seeing here. We can control that to change how that is generated, but that way we can always provide some level of alternate text for that image. The second thing I want to talk about is SEO and this new concept of GEO, or generative engine optimization. So much about searching on the web has changed over the past couple of years. I think about, how I used to, look something up on the web is I would go to Google and I would type a keyword in Google, and then I would get a set of results back. And then when I, get that list back, I would go to probably whatever the top result is. And then as soon as I do that, I'm on that brand's webpage. So if I'm, searching for cars and the first one that came up is Ford's webpage, great. Now the folks at Ford, the marketers at Ford, I'm in their brand experience as I'm going through that kind of whole customer journey, as I'm going through the idea of like looking and making decisions and researching. The way things work now for a lot of people is that, when I go to Claude or ChatGPT, I ask it a question, and what happens is now the AI agent, the LLM, is going to do that keyword search for me, but it's not going to just go to the top result like I did. It will go to the top 10 or 20 results all at once. And then it will coalesce those results down into a single answer and give me that answer. So as the user, I'm never in that brand experience. And as a marketer, that's challenging because, I had control over the message before and I have less control now. So it's maybe not until the very end of the experience when the user is getting close to making a purchase or wanting to kind of like see the images, read the tech specs, that they're actually going to come to my actual website. So the game has very much changed in terms of how this worked. Now, because the LLM is still running a search, SEO is still really important. But I need to do even more to make sure that I'm providing for users in a way that they'll be willing to come in and actually see my content, and they'll get exposed to my content through the LLM. The results of this have actually been pretty dramatic. That if you look at the research, between March of last year and March of this year, and March is a long way behind, so this has changed even more now. It was estimated that the click-through rate of a top search result on Google had dropped by half. And when you factored in only the results that got the AI overview, which almost all of them do now, we found that it had gone down by even further, by almost, it's a third of what it was before. So this becomes really important to make sure that my content is being digested by LLMs, so that in that Google overview, in Claude, in ChatGPT, people are getting my information. So there's a lot of things we can do to do that. Of course, we can make sure that we've got all the technical things done right. We've got page schemas and meta descriptions and all that good SEO stuff. But we can also do more, like making sure that on a lot of pages, like we list an FAQ with our articles, because essentially what people are typing into these LLMs are questions, are English questions, and so if I have those questions and answers on my page, my content is more digestible. But now that's extra work I have to do as a web administrator, because now for every piece of content, it was before, back in the old days, I was just writing the article, and then, okay, now I'm writing the article and handling the SEO. And now on top of that, I'm writing this extra content around it to help with GEO. And that gets to be a lot. And so this is where AI can actually be quite helpful to help us with the AI reading our content. When I look at an article I have here on my site, this article is fine, but you can see my FAQs down here at the bottom are blank. I don't have a summary. And then if I go over and take a look at my metadata here, my title and description are empty. So this is all stuff that I need to do before this article is ready to be published. Well, instead of us doing this work, what we've done is we've hooked this into an AI pipeline, and at Blend, this is something that we have really started to work with a lot. How can we have an AI automation pipeline? And so basically what happens is the user hits publish. The Umbraco CMS is then going to call out to this AI pipeline. And now all this happens behind the scenes. All the editor has to know is I just hit publish. But behind this, I want to kind of pull back the curtain and show you how this works. So behind the scenes, we have this AI workflow. And this looks like a lot of lines and chalk talk here, but really what's going on is when the article gets published, we look at it and say, does it have those meta fields? Did the editor fill those out? If so, great, but we're going to look at those, and then we're going to give the editor a score on how they did on SEO and gives them some advice. So basically, we're going to use the AI to have an SEO, GEO expert look at the page on every page that's published. So this is something that maybe you don't have this person on staff, but we're able to leverage the AI to make that happen. If they left those things blank, we're actually going to have the AI write them for us. So if I kind of focus on this bottom path down here, what we see is that I have this AI agent. We're using Anthropic, so Claude is doing the work here. Over on the right-hand side, I've got this MCP. So basically, there's that USB-C cable that's now plugged in from the AI to our website and to our admin interface. So basically, the AI is now an editor in our website. And so as soon as I hit publish, this goes to work. And behind the scenes, we've given it this prompt here. And I know this looks very technical, but again, the editors never have to see this. But essentially, we're saying, hey, I published a page. I'd like you to enter meta descriptions. I'd like you to make me a nice summary. I'd like you to write me an FAQ. Give me 3 questions and answers that we can put on this page. And then, once it's done, I'd like you to give me a report and send me a Slack and tell me how it went. So behind the scenes, when I hit publish, this starts churning away, and it starts, using the MCP, and the AI model then, does this work. All this happens without me having to do anything. And then eventually what I wind up with is a Slack. And in my Slack, it says, hey, I've saw that you published an article, and I've enhanced it. I've added meta title, meta description, and summary and subtitle. Here are the tags, and here are the questions I've added. So, without even having to go back to the website, I can see that, okay, the AI, we call ours Bud, it has helped with our website publishing. And when I go back and look at the article now, I can see it's got tags. If I go down at the bottom here, there's our FAQ item. So all that's been filled in for me. And up at the top here, there's my meta title, meta description. So all that SEO work has been done. And if I don't like any of this, I'm certainly able to change it and make that edit. But it's essentially like I had another editor that was an SEO expert that followed up with the work I did to do that work for me, which is great. The other place we can really use this is content governance. So obviously important for so many of us, especially for associations, that the work we do is accessible, the work we do is legible, as well as all on top of all this SEO, GEO kind of like marketing things. We just want to make sure that people can use our content. And again, this is that other path that we had, that if that work is done, the article's ready to go, we're having the AI take a look at that as well. And so basically we're saying like, hey, we've published this article. Here's where it lives. Here's the HTML for it. And I want you to look at this page and create a report. And the nice thing about this is, like, we can customize what this looks like. We can customize what the AI is looking at just by editing this prompt. But we can see that, I wanted you to tell me what page it is. Tell me about the accessibility. Tell me about the SEO, the schema, the meta information. Recommend anything that I should be doing here. I've asked it to act as an SEO and accessibility expert. It's quite good at that because, it ingests a lot of the web, and so it sees these things. And so when I run this, again, what I get at the end of that result is a Slack. And that Slack says, okay, for accessibility, you got a B-. Here, you're doing some good things here. You're using good structure. You've got some issues on your page you need to fix. For your SEO, you've done some good things. There are a couple of things that need addressed. And so, that can then happen. And we know as users, or as editors, as admins, boy, it'd be great if we were doing that on every time we publish an article or put a new page on the website. But there's only so much time in the day. And so as humans, we don't get to that stuff a lot because, what's more important than doing that kind of like legwork of this deep inspection on the things we've already published, probably publishing the next thing. So the great part about this is that we're able to leverage and use this AI approach to really kind of like cover those gaps and things, again, that we maybe weren't getting to before, that we're able to get to now. So one last one I want to look at, and the beautiful part about this is that really the only limits are what are the ideas that you have. And the amazing thing is that there are, just like we have a plugin for Umbraco here, there are thousands and thousands of things we can plug into this system. Just as a quick example, I want to show you. So the other thing we can plug in is on my desktop machine, rather than running it in the cloud like I do with those kind of models that run all the time for me. I can run this on my desktop as well. So my desktop Claude, and I can say plug in my own files and allow it to view them. So, as an example, what if we, had some content that was in, just files on our desktop? What if we had it in Google Drive or something like that? So many times we have so many sources to get content for the website, but maybe only a few people that actually know how to edit the website itself. And so this is a great way to handle that. I just have on my desktop here some simple markdown files with 3 articles in it. And I have asked the AI, hey, this is the kind of organization I am. I would like you to help me with these. And I want you to publish these articles for me right out of the folder. So do all that work. And also, because these don't have titles, summaries, tags, any of those other things that an article really needs, I want you to do that work for me. The neat thing about this is you can see the AI actually figuring out how to do this in real time. So it, accesses my desktop and it opens these files and it says, hey, I see that there are these folders in here. It asks for my permission to read them. And I say yes. And it says, okay, I can see these articles. They're about dogs. And now it goes out to Umbraco and it says, let's look and see, does your Umbraco site take news articles like you said? Let's find those. And, it will do this work. And, you can see it kind of doing the technical things as it goes along here to do this. But I mean, the real value of this is like, I don't have to sit here and watch it like we're doing today. I can, move on to my next task because this thing is just going to figure it out as we go as to how to do this work. And so as it plugs along here, it sees the news article. It's going to use that for an example. And if we, kind of skip down the road a little here, we see it writing the articles. And then pretty quickly here, we get to the point to say, okay, I've written these 3 articles, and it will come back and tell me the results and tell me, what types of things it added. And now it's going to publish the articles now that it's written them. It says, okay, I've created these news articles. Here are the things I focused on for your SEO based on what you told me about me as an organization. And these are the keywords I thought were valuable. These are why I wrote the headlines I did. And I told it to do this in a way that attracts new members for my organization. And so it's done that. And when I go back and look at Umbraco, where I only had 1 article before, now I have 4 because it's taken those 3 articles off the desktop. And I've got this full-fledged article, probably needs an image. I didn't give it one. But it's added all the proper fields, all the proper tags, and that work is done for me. So this is just kind of a limited set of ideas. But if you think about like, well, let's reach into my Google Analytics and pull out, the top article and then edit my homepage to have that as a feature. Those kinds of things that, like, yes, we should do that. We don't always have time to do it. So that's what we've been working on as a company, what we think is valuable.